shine, wild ones. It's Bernadette. I'm here with your Pick a Card Tarot reading for Tuesday, January 4th, 2021. Yay! I have rebounded from yesterday. Thank you all for the very, very gracious emails and Facebook messages and all of your love and support. And I feel terrible because I was supposed to be about y'all, not about me. But I'm glad that it resonated because some of y'all it hit, right through the heart, and I'm to blame. But I don't give love a bad name, y'all. I love you dearly, and I just had to bring through what the animal allies were telling me to bring through, and today I brought through what I was told to bring through, which is I dressed like a 7-year-old today. I got my gold dangly earrings on because that's what I wanted to wear, and I got my gold my grandma's gold shiny 1950s bauble because it's what I wanted to wear. And I couldn't be bothered with my hair. It's because I don't care. And so I'm looking like Rosie the Riveter today. And I'm happy. Zip, zip, zippy, zap, zap, zappy, Happy. I'm happy because the chicken card. Pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little, cheap, 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 talk a lot, pick a little more from what? The Music Man. Yes. So, it's kind of weird because, like last week and already through the weekend and then today, there have been, my gosh, a lot of oracle cards come out. Hello, Hoppus. It's my dog saying hey to y'all. And I'm wondering why so many oracle cards have come out instead of like tarot or a kind of a balanced mix of tarot and oracle cards. And what I realized was the oracle cards are included in the deck, in the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck, because they're there to give you a broader view, include more animals, pardon me, certainly more spirit, totem, power animals for you to choose from, for you to use in your, in your healings, in your readings, in your, whatever you're using, however you're working with the animal allies. And, when people get confused, you can have a tarot reading come out sometimes and you're like, what? Okay, what does that really mean? And you can pull an oracle card just to give you a little bit of clarity on it. Now, the other thing that is kind of mystifying to me is the oracle cards that have come out. There's no such thing as a simple reading. There's just not. Even if what you're hearing from the world of spirit when you pull a card, like yesterday, when I pulled dog, man, that thing hit me like a ton of bricks. Truly like a ton of bricks. When I opened up to what does this really mean, the meaning was not simple. It was profound, and it was deep, and it was deep, deep, deep. And with chicken today, it's deep, but it's the little things that people just don't know about chickens that I'm really being called to share with you guys. So for instance, listen, chickens are about fertility. They're about the egg. They're about working within a community. They're about a pecking order. Listen, okay, we get all of that, but there's some stuff about chickens that can make you really stop and think, that's really interesting. Like, did you know if chickens listen to classical music, they can lay bigger and heavier eggs? Now, why is that? Well, if you look at, of course, eggs, they have the egg stuff in them, the yolk and the whites and all of that. But in there is water, right? There's an element of water in an egg. Well, that got me thinking. I was like, you know what? That really makes good sense to me, because if you know about Dr. Masaru Emoto, God rest his soul, he is the fella over in China, Japan, the scientist that experimented with water. And he photographed water after it had been exposed to this kind of music, that kind of music, these kind of words, these kinds of emotions. And the molecules of the water were different for everything. But when it came to the classical music, that was where you saw the calmest, what we would consider calm, not fragmented, just was very connected. That's the word, connected. So that made really good sense to me. And I feel like we're made of so much water. I just feel like whatever music you're listening to, and music can mean actual music, or if somebody, my mom used to say when it was dinner time, and my grandma would say, it's dinner time, that's music to my ears, right? So whatever is music to your ears, be sure that it's the kind of music that is going to help you through this Monday, because remember, the ruling chakra is the root chakra, okay? And the ruling planet is the moon. So everything is about the emotions today. Everything is about the emotions. And if you're not listening to music to your ears, you could very well experience emotional things that you don't want to experience. Now, here's the other thing. Chickens were first actually domesticated in China. I don't know why I didn't know that. And it makes perfect sense to me, kinda. I in my head, if somebody had asked me to pick, I would have guessed they were domesticated in Europe. So when I know that they were domesticated in China, what I have to think that means symbolically, especially on a day like today, is, our emotions, how do I put this? We can think we're feeling a way and not know the reason why, or conversely, we can know a reason why, but we're surprised at the way we feel. It's almost like is it the chicken or the egg? Is it the chicken or the egg? And when you've got an animal, listen, I often say, I want everything to stay wild. I can't stand that anything is domesticated, mostly humans. I'm not a domesticated human. I'm just not. That's not ever going to happen. And so but if you have to be domesticated, then you've got to consider the culture that first domesticated those animals. What did they see in them? How did they do that? What does that culture mean for you? And I know a lot of you out there is thinking egg drop soup, right? Or chicken noodle soup. I know that's what you're thinking. But the Asian culture is such an ancient, wise culture. Just so ancient and so wise. You might actually, through chickens today, be being called to look into anything that you're interested in about the Asian culture and some of their more ancient wisdom. In particular, maybe it's Buddhism, maybe it's Taoism, and I understand that's not China, but maybe it's just, any of their spiritual tenets that they are really well known for. And you could go broad and you could take it Asia at large and not just China, or you could take it down to China. Hi, Hops. She's saving us all from imminent death. She's barking at absolutely nothing, I guarantee it. The other thing that cracks me up, having been a person that grew up with chickens and loved them dearly, just love them because they have personalities. They show empathy. They can recognize up to 100 faces of either in their brood or, in their, in their group or other groups. They communicate. They're amazing communicators. And listen, when you see those videos going around about those geese, going up to that gal and climbing in her lap and hugging her, they really do that. I mean, I had chickens that followed me around like I was mama, mama. And another interesting thing is they imprint within 2 days. It takes a human infant, I don't know, like 7 days or something like that. Or maybe, is it 2 hours? Might be 2 hours. 2 hours or 2 days. But they'll imprint on whatever they see first and is taking care of them. And we once had a mama duck when I was a kid. I told the story about the wading pool that I couldn't go into. I was scared to death. Because all I could see was something coming up out of the bottom. And I was like, no, we're done here. So my mom went ahead and dug a hole in the ground and she filled it with water for our ducks, right? And so there was just the worst quacking going on one day and just a big hullabaloo. The dogs were barking. It was a big hot mess. And so my mom went flying out the door. Oh my God, what's going on now? And we didn't know. We didn't know. We thought this duck had disappeared because we lived in the woods, y'all. And so there was Mama Duck, because she had taken, who knew, didn't know, one of our hens, because a couple of our hens had disappeared. And even though they were in pens, and we thought, okay, well, you know, she'll either come back or she won't. But apparently this hen had 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 you know, laid eggs and then disappeared. And this mama duck took care of these eggs. And when these little eggs hatched, she was going to teach them how to swim. So these poor little chickens were in this wading pool. And, you know, it's not like chickens can't swim. They're not great swimmers. But, you know, Mama Duck was trying to get them to swim. Anyway, that was it. That duck raised those chickens to full maturity. You couldn't believe it. It was astounding. Which brings me to another thing. I want to say you don't always get to choose your family, but because I believe in sacred contracts, I do believe you get to choose your family. What I also believe is if you're the odd man out, or if, you know, one of these things is not like the other, you still can find harmony and love within your family unit. And that's a big call because chickens are definitely about working within the community, working within the family. The other thing oh my gosh, I love about chickens is they will talk to their babies while the babies are in the egg, and the babies will talk back to them. I've seen it with my own eyes because I was freaked out. The babies couldn't get out, and I, you know, went screaming, "Mom, they're trapped!" And she was like, "No, it's not like that." That has stuck with me since I was a kid, like nobody's business. And so, what I want to say is, your baby can be like, you know, listen, what mother doesn't talk to the baby that's in the womb, right? Okay. But your baby can be anything. It can be a craft project that you want to start. It can be a love relationship. It can be a business. It can be anything. It can be yourself. But talk to that baby, and that baby, if you'll listen, that baby will talk back to you. So, this is kind of a different reading today because it can mean a number of different things. But really what it all comes back to is just not expect the unexpected. It's like, again, it's like the chicken before it, which came first, the chicken or the egg? But again, expect the unexpected. It's almost like maybe, that's it, y'all, duh. I think today what's going to happen is you guys are going to find that surprising things come to you, surprising insights, surprising information, surprising circumstances. And at first you might be like, really? And you might have to sit with it a little bit and give it some consideration. But the however kooky it seems to you, it will unkook itself if you'll just allow it to. And, you know, listen, if nothing else fails, get yourself one of those fancy chickens because they're about the cutest things in the world and they know it. If you've never seen a bandy rooster or one of these fancy chickens strut around, they know. They know. Somewhere out in their purview, they've got something they can see their reflection in because you can almost see those little fancy chickens stand there like that doing this. You know, are my feathers in place, Mabel? And the bandy roosters, you know, they're not about that tall. And they have a little bit of a Napoleonic complex. They walk around with their little, you know, what did he used to do? He put his hand in his waistcoat right there. They put their little claws in their waistcoat and they stand there at attention and, you know, make sure everybody's doing what they want them to do. Because if you don't do what a banty rooster wants you to do, a bantam rooster wants you to do, he will come after you. Oh yes, he will. And they are relentless and they are fierce. So, you know, I could go on about chickens and roosters all day long, y'all, because I grew up in the country. It's not like we didn't get television. We had an antenna. You know, we got 3 channels, and that was spotty at best. And so what was there for me to do? Watch the roosters and the cows and the horses and the chickens and the squirrels and whatever snakes came along or whatever came along. You know, I was always out there hunting around for something. So today, expect the unexpected. If it seems really kooky, it's okay. You know, if you can't get a fancy chicken or a bandy rooster, maybe get yourself some chicken feathers and make yourself one of those hats like the women wear to church. Whatever it is, just let chicken energy, you know, take care of your emotions today. Let chicken energy just sit in your root chakra, and just know that some days with the spirit animals, you just have to go, okay, and just wait for whatever is going to unfold. So I love you guys. Whatever nutso stuff happens for you today, it's so important to laugh and to stay wild.